September 8th in Chicago was just another warm school morning. Parents hurried their children across busy sidewalks, teachers prepared their classrooms, and little kids clutched backpacks almost bigger than their bodies. Among those parents was 31-year-old Romecha Meeks, a hard-working mother who had only one goal that day, making sure her 6-year-old son started school with a smile. She left a handwritten note in his lunchbox, something simple, something loving. Then she walked him to the front doors, held his hand tightly, and kissed him goodbye. To outsiders, Romecha looked like any proud mother starting her day. But beneath her calm smile was a silent worry. She had been living with fear for months. That fear had a name: Carlos, her ex-boyfriend. Their relationship had ended badly. The arguments were explosive, the threats were chilling, and eventually Romecha went to court for protection. A judge granted her a restraining order, forbidding Carlos from coming near her or their child. For Romecha, it was a small piece of safety, a fragile barrier against a man she no longer trusted. But on that September morning, safety was nowhere to be found. As Romecha walked back toward her car, parents in the parking lot noticed a tall figure leaning against a post near the schoolyard. It was Carlos. He wasn't supposed to be there, yet here he was, waiting, watching. Next to him stood another woman, quiet, tense, but holding herself with dangerous intent. Her name was Holly Johnson, and she had a child with Carlos too. Witnesses later said the atmosphere shifted the second Romecha noticed them. She froze, her body stiffening with a mix of shock and dread. Parents pulling strollers, teachers greeting kids, all of them sensed something was wrong. A ripple of unease spread through the crowd. Carlos began walking toward Romecha, his steps heavy and deliberate. He didn't shout at first, didn't make a scene, but when he got close enough, the anger poured out. Words flew, accusations hissed through clenched teeth. Romecha tried to back away, but Carlos lunged forward, grabbing her by the neck. In that instant, the schoolyard turned into a nightmare. Some parents screamed. Others froze, holding their children tighter, unsure whether to run or intervene. A teacher near the doors rushed kids inside, trying to shield them from what was about to unfold. And then Holly moved. She reached into her bag, her hand steady, almost practiced. For a split second, the metallic glint of a weapon caught the morning light. Before anyone could react, Holly raised the gun, pointed it straight at Romecha's face, and pulled the trigger. The shots echoed across the school grounds. Birds scattered from trees. Children shrieked in terror, and Romecha collapsed onto the concrete, blood pooling beneath her as her 6-year-old son just steps away watched his mother fall lifeless before his eyes. For a heartbeat, the world seemed to stop. Parents stood paralyzed, unable to process the horror they had just witnessed. Then chaos erupted: screams, frantic calls to 911, children being dragged away from the scene. Carlos and Holly stood there, surrounded by shock and fear. To some, it looked like an ambush. To others, a planned execution. Holly would later claim it was self-defense, but witnesses swore it was nothing short of cold-blooded murder. Romecha's little boy cried out for his mother, his tiny hands reaching for her still body. And in that single devastating moment, the life of a young mother ended, and the life of her son was shattered forever. Sirens wailed across Chicago's south side as police cars raced toward the elementary school. Within minutes, flashing red and blue lights drowned the scene where parents still huddled in shock. Officers pushed the crowd back, taped off the area, and covered Romecha Meeks' body with a white sheet. But for her 6-year-old son, no barrier could hide the truth. His mother was gone, taken in front of his eyes. Holly Johnson was immediately taken into custody. The gun was recovered. Witnesses gave statements, their voices trembling as they described the horrifying moments. Many insisted Romecha never had a chance. She was unarmed, already being choked by Carlos when Holly pulled the trigger. Yet Holly's first words to investigators stunned everyone. She claimed she had acted in self-defense. How is shooting a woman in the face while she's trapped in a headlock self-defense? One parent later told reporters. That was an execution, not survival. News spread quickly, and by evening, the story dominated Chicago's local channels. Social media exploded with outrage. Clips recorded on phones circulated online, sparking national attention. Hashtags like #JusticeForRomecha and #ChicagoSchoolShooting trended, with thousands demanding accountability. Meanwhile, Romecha's family was drowning in grief. On Facebook Live, her aunt broke down in tears, begging the public not to believe twisted rumors. "They overkilled my baby," she cried. She was leaving her son at school. She wasn't bothering nobody. And now her baby is left asking, "Where's my mama?" How do we explain that? For them, the hardest part was knowing Romecha had tried to protect herself. The restraining order against Carlos was supposed to keep her safe. But paper orders cannot stop bullets. Now, the man she feared and the woman who pulled the trigger had destroyed their lives in a matter of seconds. The community rallied. Candlelight vigils were held outside the school. Balloons were released into the sky, carrying prayers for Romecha's soul. Strangers left flowers, teddy bears, and handwritten notes at the spot where she died. Parents whispered to each other in fear, asking how something so violent could happen in front of children. In what should have been one of the safest places in the city, prosecutors began building their case. Investigators pieced together a timeline. Carlos violated the restraining order by confronting Romecha, initiating the fight. Holly armed herself, stepped forward, and fired the fatal shots. The question was simple: was this truly self-defense, or had they planned the attack together? Forensic evidence painted a grim picture. Ballistics confirmed Holly fired at close range, striking Romecha in the face. Witnesses swore she never threatened Holly. The self-defense claim began to crumble under the weight of testimony. Still, legal battles are complicated. Defense attorneys hinted at painting Romecha as the aggressor, twisting her final moments to shield Holly from murder charges. The thought alone enraged the community. Don't let them kill her twice. A family friend pleaded at a vigil. First, they took her life. Now they're trying to take her dignity. As weeks passed, the story became more than just one woman's tragedy. It became a symbol of domestic violence, legal system failures, and the dangers victims face even after seeking help. Advocates demanded stricter enforcement of restraining orders, better protection for women, and harsher penalties for abusers who ignore the law. For Romecha's son, though, the fight for justice means something far more personal. Every night, he still asks for his mother. Every morning, he walks past the spot where she fell, and until justice is served, her family vows to keep her name alive. Because Romecha Meeks wasn't just a victim, she was a mother, a daughter, a fighter, and now, she's the face of a battle that Chicago and the entire nation cannot afford to ignore.